Welcome back to Connected Tech Talks, and with a new smartphone landing just shy of a $900 price point, it is safe to say that the OnePlus smartphone lineup has, if it hasn't already, entered the flagship territory. Since its birth, OnePlus has been focused on making cheap phones, basically. Phones that get you through the day with the important features you need and leaving out the gimmicks. With today's release of the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro, it is safe to say that OnePlus smartphones are a legitimate competition to smartphones such as the iPhone and Samsung products in terms of features and performance. OnePlus phones have always left out features that they deemed not important to the average user. But they did leave in really cool features that they think are important to the average user, with some of these features not even being on iPhones. For instance, fast charging. My dad's OnePlus 7T can charge 50% in like 25 minutes or something crazy like that. And it was literally like $600. Compared to an iPhone, that is just crazy. I think we should have that on iPhones. I think that's an important feature, and I'd love to see it on iPhones. Maybe we probably won't ever get it because we might not get USB-C at all. But anyway, a notable thing about the OnePlus lineup is that they have been emitting things like an IP water resistance rating and wireless charging. With the 8 and 8 Pro, you're going to get amazing wireless charging, far better than you can get on any other device, with 30-watt wireless charging that can charge your phone from 0 to 50% in about half of an hour, and an IP68 water resistance rating, which basically means it's completely waterproof. The OnePlus 8 has a gigantic display, 6.55 inches. Of course, OnePlus devices have always been known for their big displays, even though they want to keep their phones cheap, and they have kept them cheap. And the OnePlus 8 Pro has a 6.7-inch display. So, unfortunately, there is no variations of the size, but within the models, you have to pick the non-Pro with the 6.5-inch display, or you have to pick the Pro with the 6.7-inch display. Just like Apple, the Pro and non-Pro versions have the same exact chip, so you should get similar performance on both devices. I do believe that the Pro has better RAM than the non-Pro version, but it's still at least 8 gigabytes for both, and you can go up to 12 gigabytes depending on which storage option you choose, I believe. So you should really have no problems with RAM. Both phones can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second video, which is good. OnePlus phones haven't ever been great at camera or video, but hands-on looks on these devices are showing us that the OnePlus 8 and Pro have been able to actually compete with flagships. Again, most reviewers still say that the iPhone 11 Pro is should be your choice if you're looking to shoot lots of video. iPhones have been great for video, and most reviewers would choose a Google Pixel for photos. But with both the Pixel and the iPhone, those are probably going to be more expensive than the 8, which is only at $699, or the 8 Pro, which is at $899. Both phones, again, high megapixels, just like the latest Samsung phones, unnecessarily high. They default to 12 megapixels, even though they have 48 megapixel cameras, so why even include it if you're going to default? Anyway, basically, it's going to be good, it's just not going to be the best. Probably just to separate the Pro from the non-Pro models, the Pro models do have slightly better camera specifications than the non-Pro. They both have 3 cameras, but the Pro has a 4th camera that is called a 5 megapixel color filter, so we'll have to see if that actually makes a difference for photos or not. Both devices have OnePlus's standard wired charging speeds and capabilities at 30 watts, but only the Pro model has that amazing 30-watt wireless charging. Only the higher-end models of the OnePlus 8 have the IP68 rating, while all of the Pro models have that rating. And finally, both devices have OnePlus's amazing in-the-display fingerprint technology. The OnePlus 8 is going to treat you to a 90 Hz refreshing display, while the Pro can go up to 120. Both devices have great battery, with the non-Pro hitting 4,300 milliamp hours and the Pro hitting 4,510 milliamp hours. Mostly this battery difference is going to be caused by the size difference in the phones. Again, the Pro model is going to be bigger than the non-Pro. Both devices have a single hole punch style front-facing camera, which I assume is mediocre quality. OnePlus has claimed that the displays now have a billion different colors, which is supposed to be like, so you could see different colors, I guess. I looked it up, and the human eye can only see 10 million different colors. So not exactly sure what's up with that, but yeah, it's good to know. Unlike with the OnePlus 7 and 7 Pro, you'll be able to buy both the 8 and 8 Pro in the United States, which is pretty cool. It comes in a lot of colors, or good colors, or something like that. I'm sure it has colors. What I really like to talk about with OnePlus phones is how far they've come as a company. Originally, they were like 6 years ago, I think they were founded. They were just another company, another phone in the sea of phones that were attempting to rise up in India and China, that were just trying to get market share. And luckily, they did it. And they accomplished this by being cheap, affordable, I guess those are synonyms, but still having features that people care about. As they've gained market share, they've been able to increase the price of their phones, add more features, and still continue to gain market share because people have heard of their name, and it's now a legitimate competitor to companies like Apple and Samsung in places like the United States, where in the United States you're not going to find most Chinese, Indian brands that were just started to be copycats of iPhones. OnePlus has done their fair share of copying designs from iPhones, and it's gained them some success. But what they did differently was making it cheap. Some startups in Asia try to make flagship competitors without first building a community and a loyal fan base. OnePlus has been able to succeed by starting with the fan base first and then going into competitive flagship smartphones. Continuing to provide the flagship, which is the 8 Pro, and the cheaper option, which is the 8, I think is really good. For the people who want to see OnePlus do amazing things like other smartphone companies are, they have the 8 Pro. For those who just want OnePlus for what it was originally, which is cheap, affordable hardware that brings features that they actually care about. I consider the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro to finally be flagship competitors because there's so many features that I wish my iPhone, my flagship device, could have. So maybe that's a good standard for judging whether a smartphone is a flagship competitor. If it has market share, if it has features that other flagships don't have, and if it has a competitive price. And overall, I think that the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro definitely fit that description. Personally, video recording is very important to me. Figure A, figure B, but most people aren't recording YouTube videos on their phones. And most people just want something that they can play their games on, which I think that the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro, or at least the Pro, has dual speakers, which is great for gaming. They want a phone that can check their email, and they want a phone that can take decent pictures when they need them, and they want a phone that can be reliable, aka a fast battery, or a big battery, fast charging, and they want that crisp stock Android experience that Oxygen OS provides. So in conclusion, the OnePlus 8 and 8 Pro can be considered flagship competitors and can be considered game changers for the smartphone industry. And as always, stay connected and stay inside.